This came out about 3 hours ago. Blake Lively might drop emotional distress claim, says Team Baldoni in letter to judge.
Blake Lively has withdrawn her claims against him. Ms. Lively's counsel recently advised us in writing that Miss Lively is withdrawing her IED claims. Blake Lively has withdrawn her claims against him for intentional infliction of emotional distress and negligent infliction of emotional distress, thus making her case weaker. Team Baldoni Wayfarer is asking the judge to compel, quote, Blake Lively to identify her medical and mental health care providers, to produce her mental health records, and to deliver to the Wayfarer parties the necessary, duly executed HIPAA authorizations permitting them to obtain Miss Lively's medical and mental health care records from her providers.
Once celebrated as one of Hollywood's most admired couples, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds now find themselves under intense public scrutiny. Reports suggest that growing pressure from Blake's ongoing legal troubles has placed enormous strain on their marriage. Once known for playful red carpet chemistry and light-hearted social media moments, the couple's silence and visible distance have sparked speculation that their once solid bond may be faltering. According to sources close to the case, tension began escalating after allegations against Blake gained traction online. Her legal team maintains that the accusations are unfounded and malicious, but public opinion has shifted sharply. The controversy has turned what was once a private legal dispute into a high-profile media storm, with every move closely dissected by fans and commentators alike. In court, proceedings have grown increasingly heated. Testimonies, leaked emails, and conflicting timelines have left observers divided. Legal analysts note that the case now appears to hinge less on hard evidence and more on perception, with both sides fighting not only in court but also in the court of public opinion. Blake's attorney recently shocked many by unexpectedly stepping down from the case. The resignation, reportedly tied to strategic differences, sent waves through Hollywood's legal circles. Speculation intensified that internal disagreements about case management may have complicated Blake's defense at a critical stage. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni's representatives have remained measured, focusing on procedural accuracy rather than public spectacle. Yet the release of new filings has reignited debate about who stands to lose more as reputations hang in the balance. The courtroom has become the stage for what feels like a larger narrative about truth, image, and accountability in celebrity culture.
They allege the health-related information is highly relevant to Miss Lively's 10th cause of action for intentional infliction of emotional distress. Instead of complying with the medical RFP's request for production, Miss Lively's counsel recently advised us in writing that Miss Lively is withdrawing her IED claims. However, Miss Lively has refused the Wayfarer party's reasonable request that the withdrawal of such claims be with prejudice. With prejudice means dismissed permanently. Miss Lively wants to simultaneously A, refuse to disclose the information and documents needed to disprove that she suffered any emotional distress and or that the Wayfarer parties were That's the key. After the discovery window has closed, right? We're in discovery now, as I told you.
Observers describe the atmosphere inside the courtroom as tense and unpredictable. At times, exchanges between legal teams border on theatrical, drawing audible reactions from attendees. Reporters covering the case have remarked that each hearing seems to bring another dramatic turn, keeping both the media and the public on edge. Recent revelations indicate that some evidence presented earlier may have been taken out of context. Legal experts caution against rushing to judgment, reminding audiences that partial information often fuels misinformation. The complexity of the case continues to challenge even seasoned analysts attempting to piece together a clear timeline. Behind the scenes, insiders claim that PR teams are working overtime to shape public narratives. Carefully curated headlines and strategic leaks appear to influence perception more than court transcripts themselves. The result is a story as much about media manipulation as it is about legal truth. As proceedings unfold, Judge Lemon has expressed visible frustration at repeated procedural delays. Sources inside the courthouse describe a growing impatience to see substantive evidence rather than speculation. The judge's firm tone has signaled that future hearings will focus strictly on verified testimony. Blake's supporters argue that she is being unfairly targeted due to her fame, while critics insist that accountability should apply equally to all. Social platforms have become battlegrounds for competing narratives, with hashtags trending after every update. What began as a legal conflict has evolved into a cultural flashpoint.
Miss Lively cannot have it both ways. If Miss Lively wants to withdraw her frivolous IED claims, as we established, that means infliction of emotional distress. If Miss Lively is unwilling to stipulate to the dismissal of her IED claims with prejudice, then the Wayfarer parties will continue to defend against them. She must produce her medical information and documents as set forth herein. She must produce her medical information and documents as set forth herein. In her complaint, Miss Lively claims the Wayfarer party's alleged misconduct severely impacted her physical, psychological, and emotional well-being. Moreover, Miss Lively repeatedly alleges that she has suffered and continues to suffer substantial damages, including but not limited to severe emotional distress and pain, humiliation, embarrassment, belittlement, frustration, and mental anguish. They claim that this information is routinely exchanged in cases involving claims for physical and emotional injury.
Ryan Reynolds, who has largely avoided public comment, has reportedly encouraged privacy and restraint. However, his noticeable absence from recent events has only deepened curiosity about the couple's current dynamic. Insiders say the two are navigating immense pressure as personal and professional worlds collide. Court filings submitted this week added new layers to the controversy, including claims of witness tampering and manipulation of digital records. Blake's legal representatives immediately dismissed these as baseless, calling them an attempt to distort public perception ahead of an important procedural review. Legal commentators emphasize that the outcome of this case may set a precedent for how celebrity disputes are handled in digital age courts. The intersection of law, social media, and reputation management has made this more than a standard lawsuit. It's a test of how justice functions under a spotlight. Despite the noise surrounding the trial, both parties have attempted to maintain a degree of professionalism in public. Statements from representatives on both sides stress commitment to due process and fairness. Yet the underlying tension remains unmistakable as the next phase approaches. Industry insiders say that studios and brands connected to the stars are quietly monitoring developments. Endorsement deals and ongoing projects could be affected depending on the verdict and its public reception. The ripple effects of this case may extend far beyond the courtroom itself.
They say, by alleging that she suffered physical and emotional injuries, Miss Lively has placed her physical and mental condition at issue and, in turn, must produce relevant information and documents.
Even Judge Louis J. Lyman from the U.S. District Court has started losing patience, and honestly, who can blame him? Insiders say he wasn't amused watching Blake Lively's legal team treat major claim withdrawals like routine cleanup. Especially after Justin Baldoni's attorneys accused them of exploiting procedural loopholes to delay and control the narrative. One court filing even hinted that Blake's lawyers planned to quietly refile their dropped claims once the discovery window closed. Legal talk for sneaking back into court through a side door once things got serious. But just when it seemed the courtroom chaos couldn't escalate further, it did. In May 2025, Baldoni's team filed a subpoena for Taylor Swift. And no, this wasn't a tabloid rumor, it was an official record accusing Blake of coercing Taylor into public support and allegedly pressuring her to delete private messages. Swift's powerhouse legal team at Venal LLP hit back instantly, and the subpoena was dismissed within days. But the damage? Immediate. Taylor went completely silent. No likes, No tags, no backstage selfies. According to Us Weekly, the friendship flatlined after that subpoena. What was once Hollywood sisterhood had now turned ice cold. This wasn't legal anymore, it was personal. The optics were brutal. Dragging America's biggest pop star into a legal mess while she's out winning Grammys? Not a good look. And it only got worse when Baldoni's defense team brought in Ellen S. Garup, a heavyweight attorney with decades of high-profile experience and yes, a former lawyer for Taylor Swift. That connection alone sent shockwaves through Hollywood. It was no coincidence. This was strategy. Baldoni wasn't just defending himself anymore, he was dismantling Blake's entire public narrative with surgical precision. And then came the bombshell. Documents allegedly handed over by Scott Swift, Taylor's own father, landed on Baldoni's desk. These files reportedly showed Blake's team threatening to leak private messages if Taylor didn't show public support. If true, it meant Blake had crossed a line that even her closest friends couldn't ignore. The fallout was swift, pun intended. Cara Delevingne went silent. Gigi Hadid backed off. Sophie Turner, once a regular at Blake's events, was spotted instead with Taylor and Dakota Johnson. One by one, Blake's A-list circle evaporated. No more brunches, no more red carpets, no more sisterhood selfies. By mid-2025, what started as a crusade for justice looked more like a PR implosion. Major claims dropped. Evidence missing. Friends gone. Even Ryan Reynolds got dragged into counterclaims for PR-driven defamation. And now, Baldoni's team, led by Ellen Garup and Brian Friedman, is moving like a machine. Every filing is calculated, every motion lands clean, while Blake's team scrambles to hold on. BuzzFeed said it best. Blake's implosion, what happened to the case that was supposed to expose Baldoni? The courtroom is no longer her stage. It's a battlefield, and this time, the evidence is louder than the emotion.